Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk about layers right now. So all this talk about what you can do in Photoshop, but the most powerful, I think this is basically what makes Photoshop Photoshop. Its ability to help you work with layers. Let me explain. So think of layers like a stack of papers on each other. What I mean is, consider it this way. If I put a book on top of another book, then the odds are that what's underneath will be covered, right? So watch this. I have layers here right now, and I'm putting layers right underneath this. If I make this visible, wow, my layers is now invisible. Not true. It's still there. It's just underneath. Watch this. When I move this away, our layer starts to appear, right? So I'm just going to go back to what we had. Now, there are a bunch of other things you could do here. You could make this invisible. You could even say that you only want, okay, you could do a clip mask, which is this, which is basically telling Photoshop that I only want to show this image where this is. So this should be like the boundary, but everything that is in this should only show on the pixels contained by this. Don't worry, I'll totally explain how it works more in depth as we go along because I know that could sound confusing. So we could go back, see what happens again. See? That's just it. So there are other things we could do. We could do our layer mask, which basically says that anything I paint here, if I paint black, watch this. If I paint black, then I'm going to delete something. If I paint white, watch, then I'm going to recover something. See? So this is already looking like a cool effect. Don't you think? I think so. So maybe just take another black, do something like this, take a white, and maybe bring some parts of it back. See? It's already looking like a really cool effect, isn't it? So there are a bunch of cool stuff you could do with layer mask. Trust me, it's really, really powerful. And I don't want you to not utilize this really powerful thing. So I'm just going to remove this layer mask right now. Sorry, not here. So just going to go here. There used to be a place to delete the layer mask. Hold on for a second, guys. Okay, so delete the layer mask. So that's basically, stuff that we can do with layers. There are a bunch of other things. We could create another layer. So we could do this, and that would just copy it. Watch this. So if I want to copy, if this is here, and I was going to do this, and I grab this and I come down here, it's just going to duplicate it, because normally this is the function that helps us to create a new layer. So if I click this, it will create a new layer. But if I was to drag this down to that point, it's just going to make it a copy basically. So I'm just going to make this invisible, and I'm going to make this invisible. So that's another thing. You can make things invisible by clicking the eye icon, and that's basically it. So there are a bunch of other things you could do with layers. You could affect your blending modes. I'm going to talk about blending modes and what they do in another lesson, so I'm just going to leave that. You could affect your opacity, which basically is how transparent you want it to be. Same thing with the fill. So fill basically and opacity have some level of similarity in terms of what you want to use them to do. But let me explain the difference. So fill says that if I have a brush, yeah, and I want to fill a particular color. If I do 10% of that color, it's just 10% that would appear. Opacity is different in the sense that let's just remove this. So if I do, 100% of this, of the fill of this, what should happen? So now I have this completely at the exact hue. And if I reduce the fill just a bit to maybe 37%, it means that if I maybe make 3 of these, maybe the 4th, I'd get back the exact same color if I was on 100. Watch this. I want to show you guys that. Let me just duplicate this so I can show you the difference. Don't get worried. I just want to show you this. So 100. This is 100. This is 100. This is 100. This is 100. I know it's kind of trippy. Anyway, so that's how it works. And then opacity, like I explained, is just working with transparency. That's it. Now, all these other things you see here are you just telling, you're basically telling Photoshop the kind of things you want to find. So if you're looking for effects, you can just search this, effects will come out. If you're looking for, you want to search with name, that's it. You want to search with attributes. So you want it to be visible, you want it to be vector mask. You don't have any vector mask, so it's not going to show you that. You're looking for a layer mask because you could be dealing with like a lot of layers, right? So this just basically makes it easy for you to switch in and out of the layers, okay? So if I'm searching for colors like red, it's gonna look for red. If it doesn't see red, it's gonna tell me. It's gonna look for violet, and you know, just continuously like that. That's how it works, really. So same thing. I'm looking for all the layers. I'm looking for all this layer is forgotten the name. The adjustment layer, exactly. So this is for text. This is for I don't deal with these things by name anyway. So this is shape layer, and basically that's how you search for everything. But I don't want to search for anything at all. I'm good. Paths refers to if I was to draw this with my pen tool, I was to do something like this. Now, see, it's telling me that I have a work path. So that basically means that in that particular thing, I haven't made it a layer yet. I just made it a path, right? So it's showing me that if I wanted to select this, I could based off of the work path. Do you see? So I have a path that's basically somewhere. It's just not on a layer just yet. So I'll explain a lot of things as we go forward, or maybe in the intermediate or in the advanced classes. Anyway, so let's come back to our layers. So on the layers, we have a bunch of things. We have our layer styles. We have our adjustment layers. We have our layer mask, like I was trying to explain to you guys. We have a folder. So let's say, for example, we want to put this in a folder just to keep it organized. We could do this, and it's going to group them, right? Excuse me. If I wanted to delete those, I could just drag it and put it on into the bin, and voila, it's gone. I'm just gonna bring them back because I didn't want them to be gone. So what I did there was I did Control Z, in case of anybody that doesn't actually know what I did. So for Mac users, remember Command Z. Let's see, there are a bunch of other things we could still do here. We could lock the layer, which basically doesn't allow us to move that layer in the document. See, we can't move this layer right now. See what it says. Then we could come here, then we could prevent it to be, so the thing is, it's not locked right now, but I just can't move it in between. So let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick. It's supposed to be more advanced stuff, but let me just show you this. We're gonna come to artboard tool. Just gonna let that work its magic. So then I'm gonna go here. So if I was to maybe duplicate this a bit, let's just duplicate this. Yeah, so let's say I wanted to move this into this, I wouldn't be able to. I wonder why. I'll tell you why. It's because I did this. See what happens when I broke it out? it automatically jumped into the other artboard. But if I wanted to just be able to move it and I don't want to affect it, then I'm just gonna have to put that thing there. So if I drag this, watch this. If I remove this lock tool, it automatically appears in the next artboard. So that's the tool, and that's what it does for us. This just prevents us from being able to, move the position. So if I lock layers, I can't move its position for anything on this planet. So I just gotta unlock it. And I think that brings us to the end of understanding the layers panel. So in the next lesson, we'll talk about layer styles and we'll go from there.